Alexander Zverev, one of tennis's most recognizable names, has faced serious allegations of domestic abuse that have followed him for years, raising ongoing questions about accountability in professional sports and the role of governing bodies in addressing such issues. The first public allegation came in October 2020 when Zverev's former girlfriend, Olya Sharypova, accused him of domestic abuse. She made her claims on social media, alleging that Zverev had physically harmed her during their relationship. In November 2020, and again in August 2021, Sharypova gave in-depth interviews to journalist Ben Rothenberg, published in Racket magazine and Slate. In these interviews, she alleged multiple instances of physical abuse. Among the most disturbing claims, Zverev punched her in the face, pushed her against a wall, and smothered her with a pillow until she struggled to breathe. Events she says took place in cities like Monaco, Shanghai, and New York. Sharypova did not file a police report, but in response to growing pressure, the ATP, the governing body for men's professional tennis, in October 2021, announced that it would launch an internal investigation into the allegations, the first such probe in the organization's history. Zverev continued to deny all wrongdoing and expressed confidence that he would be proven innocent. On January 31, 2023, the ATP concluded that there was insufficient evidence to support the allegations and declined to punish Zverev. The investigation's full findings were not released. Zverev continued to deny the accusations, stating that he cooperated fully and appreciated the ATP's attention to the matter. But the story did not end there, as his former partner Brenda Patea also made similar accusations. Alexander Zverev was accused in a court document for physically abusing and harming the health of his former partner, Brenda Patea, during an argument in Berlin in May 2020. Patea, who is also the mother of Zverev's daughter, publicly identified herself and alleged that he pushed her into a wall and choked her. On October 2, 2023, a Berlin criminal court issued a penalty order against Zverev, which included a fine of €450,000, around $488,000. In German law, such orders are issued when there is strong evidence and a trial is deemed unnecessary, although the accused has the right to contest it. Zverev did contest the order and maintained the presumption of innocence until trial. On November 1st, during a media appearance at the Paris Masters, Zverev called the penalty order complete bullshit, dismissing the situation without elaborating and suggesting that it was self-explanatory to anyone with a semi-standard IQ. Zverev responded via Instagram, calling her accusations unfounded and simply not true. His lawyers issued a statement claiming that a medical report dismissed the allegations as incomprehensible and contradictory. They also reiterated that Zverev denies the allegations in the strongest possible terms. A settlement was later reached between Zverev, Patea, and the prosecutor's office. It included a monetary condition of €200,000, of which €150,000 would go to the state treasury and the rest to non-profits. The court clarified that the decision was not a verdict and did not establish guilt or innocence. Zverev's legal team said he accepted the agreement to expedite proceedings in the interest of his child. Before the trial began, Zverev stated that he would not attend and that it would not impact his tennis performance. He expressed confidence in the German legal system and in the truth, asserting his innocence and saying that if the trial weighed on him or that he had any doubt, he wouldn't be playing as well as he has. He declined to comment further during the tournament. The court hearing began on May 31, 2024, notably during the French Open, which ran from May 26 to June 9th. However, Zverev was not required to appear in person, raising eyebrows about how the tennis world was handling the matter during a Grand Slam. Zverev remained eligible to compete and continued to be a prominent figure in the sport due in part to a loophole in the ATP's rulebook, which does not have a formal domestic violence policy governing player conduct. This lack of policy has drawn increasing scrutiny from media and advocacy groups. Despite the controversy, Zverev was elected to the ATP Player Advisory Council at the start of 2024. He joined 9 other tour players in the group, which advises ATP leadership and shapes decisions on behalf of players. His appointment came just months after the Berlin court issued its penalty order, leading to criticism from journalists and some fans. At the 2024 Australian Open, when asked whether it was appropriate for someone facing such serious allegations to be on the council, Zverev responded, "Why would it not be? Nobody has said anything to me. I don't have a reason not to believe that." The story remains unresolved. While Zverev continues to deny all allegations and compete at the highest level, his ongoing legal battle and the lack of clear policy or accountability from tennis authorities continues to spark debate about the sport's ability to confront serious off-court issues. Few of Zverev's peers have publicly commented on the charges, the trial, or his counsel role. At the Australian Open, players like Alex de Minaur, Stefanos Tsitsipas, and Casper Ruud said they were unaware or preferred not to discuss the situation. Grigor Dimitrov, another council member, said he didn't initially know the details but believed the group would need to meet to address the issue. Sloane Stephens, a former WTA Players' Council member, said the WTA would not have allowed a player facing such charges to be elected and criticised the ATP's handling of the matter. She called it a difficult situation and hoped the trial would bring closure. Iga Swiatek also expressed concern, saying it was disappointing for someone facing charges to be promoted, though she said she wasn't in a position to judge. But it's safe to say that fans have not forgotten these accusations, as the latest incident regarding the accusations happened in January 2025 at the Australian Open after Zverev's loss in the final against Jannik Sinner. During the Australian Open men's singles trophy ceremony, Alexander Zverev was heckled by a spectator referencing the domestic abuse allegations made against him. As Zverev stepped up to accept his runners-up trophy, a voice from the crowd shouted, "Australia believes Olya and Brenda," referring to his two former partners who had accused him of abuse. When asked about the incident afterward, Zverev responded dismissively, saying, "Good for her. I think she was the only one in the stadium who believed anything in that moment." He added, "I believe there are no more accusations. There haven't been for, 9 months now. I think I've done everything I can, and I'm not about to open that subject again." The trial against Zverev was officially discontinued in June 2024 following a settlement reached between the defendant and the complainant. At the time, the court emphasised that the decision is not a verdict and it is not a decision about guilt or innocence. Many fans were deeply disappointed with how the ATP handled the situation, with many suggesting that the organisation may never have pursued a thorough investigation if not for Zverev's on-court outburst in Mexico in February 2022, when he violently struck the chair umpire's stand with his racket. Although the ATP had announced an investigation into the abuse allegations back in October 2021, it wasn't until after the Mexico incident that the inquiry appeared to gain real momentum. While it's wrong to imply that someone must display violent behaviour publicly to be suspected of abuse privately, the timing of the ATP's increased attention, coinciding with Zverev's outburst, raised serious questions about the governing body's priorities and commitment to addressing off-court misconduct. We may never know the full truth behind the accusations against Alexander Zverev, but what is clear is that they have left a lasting mark on his public image. At the moment, Zverev is undeniably one of the top players in the world, consistently ranked in the top 5 and currently holding the number 2 spot behind Jannik Sinner. His talent is unquestionable. In every tournament he enters, he is regarded as one of the front-runners for the title. However, despite his on-court achievements, Zverev continues to face scrutiny and skepticism. Until his name is fully cleared, many tennis fans will remain hesitant to offer their support, or may continue to voice their disapproval, as seen during recent events.